Welcome to the channel, it's T Money Magic coming at you with the green cards for Lowryn Eclipsed. We're going to be reviewing these cards today for draft and your pre-release. This is not a review of how these cards are going to be doing in Modern or Standard or Pioneer or anything like that. It's going to be pretty straightforward. I'm going to be putting the card in the middle. Beside the card there's going to be a letter grade. An A is a bomb. It's a card you're going to play every single time. It's going to close out games for you. A B is a card that's going to be a high playable card. It's going to be something that you're very happy to have in your deck. You're not going to want to cut it. It might not be able to close out a game on its own, but it's going to be a very strong card. A C is a playable card. It's just a card that's kind of going to fill out your curve. You'll be okay to cut some of them, leave some of them in, just depending on what you're needing for your deck. A D is a situational card. It's going to come out of your sideboard. It's going to be something that you're probably not going to play in your main deck unless you absolutely have to have it. And then an F is a card that's just not playable and limited. And with that, let's go ahead and dive in. Up first, we have Assert Perfection. It is for 2 mana. It's a sorcery. It's a common. It says target creature you control gets +1/+0 until end of turn. It deals damage equal to its power to up to one target creature an opponent controls. This is a very solid common. It's a good way to remove other creatures, especially if you have a death touching creature or something. It can even scale up in that case. Since this is a bite effect and not a fight effect, so with that, one of the difference between bite and fight. So if it just deals damage to something, that's a bite effect. If it fights something, that means that they actually deal combat damage to each other. This is basically a much better card than those fight spells, because with a fight spell there's always the risk that they have their own combat trick or something like that to negate it. The worst thing that can happen in a bite spell is that they have something that keeps their creature safe, or they make it bigger, and then again it's still a 1-for-1 trade-off in cards. I think this is a great removal spell. You're going to be very happy to have it in your green decks. Next up, we have Aurora Awakener. It is for 7 mana in total. It is a giant druid at Mythic. It has Trample and Vivid. So when this creature enters, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal X permanent cards, where X is the number of colors among permanents you control. Put any number of those permanent cards onto the battlefield, then put the rest of the revealed cards on the bottom of your library in a random order. So this is a great card. You're going to be very, very happy to have this card. If there was ever going to be a color that was going to make Vivid work, it would definitely be the green color pair. The fact that this is 7 mana means that by the time you get to there's a good chance that you at least have, 1 or 2 other creatures in different colors than the green creatures. So like at worst case, this is a 7 mana, 7/7 with trample that gives you 2 other cards, 2 other permanents that you can put on the battlefield. The best case scenario, if you can get 3, 4, or 5 colors going on, then this card just gets absolutely nutty. It's insane. It's a bomb. You're going to be very happy to have it. Next up, we have Bloom Tender. It's for 2 mana. It's an elf druid at Mythic. It also has Vivid. It says for each color among permanents you control, add 1 mana of that color. So a 2 mana 1/1 that just pays for 1 mana. Like let's say that you at turn 2 play this, you only have the green creature in play, so it's only 1 mana. Well, still the next turn, like you can ramp into a 4-power creature. If you do already have a turn 1 play or your turn 3 play, you're able to put down 3 mana. And then let's say that you can lay down 3 mana, you have a 3 mana creature that's like a white creature card or something, and then you can then tap this for 2 mana, 1 for green and 1 for white, and then you're able to cast like another 2-drop. This is a really, really great card to have. I think, if Vivid was going to work, it's going to have to be out of the green decks. They just have enough going on with them in green to get you where you need to go with Vivid, and you're going to be very happy to have this card in those decks. But even if you're unable to get it in like a Vivid deck or anything, you're still just going to be happy with like a 2 mana 1/1 that helps you tap for additional mana. That's just a great card to have, especially in limited, like when having more mana than your opponent is always very important. That's important in any game, but especially in limited where like there's only 40 cards to pick from usually, this is just going to be a great card. You're going to be very happy with it. Next up, we have Blossoming Defense. It is for 1 green mana. It's an instant. It says target creature you control gets +2/+2 and gains hexproof until end of turn. These are solid. It's an uncommon. These are solid uncommon little tricks. We usually see these in every set. It gives something hexproof, and sometimes it gives it a counter. Those are better. This one doesn't give you a counter, so it is just it gives a +2/+2. It does make it more situational though. Like you can be aggressive with this if you think you're going to be able to close out a game and you just needed that extra damage to go through. It's going to be able to save your creatures in the event that your opponent tries to remove them. Overall, it's a very solid uncommon. You'll be happy to take at least one of these in your deck. Next, we have Bristleband Battler. It is for 2 mana. It's a Kipkin Soldier at rare. It's got Trample and War 2. It says this creature enters with 5 -1/-1 counters on it. Whenever another creature you control enters while this creature has a -1/-1 counter on it, remove a -1/-1 counter from this creature. So the green-white Kipkin deck is a deck. It's all about like putting a bunch of creatures out there and things like that. So this starts out as a 2 mana 1/1 with Ward 2 and Trample. So that's not super great. I also think like even if like so you lay this down, like let's say that you lay this down on turn 2 and then the next turn you lay down another creature, well then it just becomes a 2/2. The next turn you get 2 more creatures, well then it becomes like a 4/4 and it's kind of running away with the game at that point. But even then, like where it caps out at 6. So anytime like, and we've seen this in other cards where they enter with a -1/-1 counter, but something else makes it bigger as it goes. But still, the fact that it gets capped at a certain point, it makes it less good. Now, this one is definitely better. I mean, the fact that it gets all the way up to a 6/6 and it has Trample and War 2 makes it harder to deal with and harder to remove. So I think it's better. Like, it's not like a terrible card. Like, you're going to take it and you're going to be happy with it. But, if you have this in your pack one, pick one, and there's like a strong removal spell or something, you probably would be better off with the removal spell. So I don't think it's quite like a bomb or anything like that. It's just like a solid card. Next up, we have Bristleband Outrider. It is for 4 mana. It's a Kifkin Knight at uncommon. It says this creature can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. As long as another creature entered this battlefield under your control this turn, this creature gets +2/+0. So I think this is going to be like a solid top-end card in your Kifkin decks. I mean, it's 4 mana, which again, like Kifkin's all about like smaller creatures and things. So a 4 mana Curve Topper is probably going to be about right. Like maybe 1 5 mana card or something like that in there. But the fact that like other creatures make this even bigger, it does cap at 2. So it's not each time a creature enters. So like if you have multiple creatures in there, this will never be bigger than a 5/5. It does matter that it can't be blocked by power of creatures 2 or less because, it's just going to be bigger than some things can even block it. And when you're trying to block into a 5/5, like that's not going to be a very comfortable position. While reviewing this, I've noticed a lot of the creature spells in this, like they are of lesser toughness and power overall in general. So there's not too many things that are going to have a good block into this. I think it's a very solid uncommon for your Kifkin deck. But even if you're not straight up in a Kifkin deck, it goes well in a lot of other decks too. It kind of can run itself, and those are always some of the better cards. I think it's solid. You're going to be very happy with it. Next up, we have Celestial Reunion. It is for X and green. It's a sorcery at Mythic. It says, as an additional cost to cast this spell, you may choose a creature type and behold 2 creatures of that type. Search your library for a creature card with mana value X or less, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. If the spell's additional cost was paid and the revealed card is the chosen type, put that card onto the battlefield instead of putting it into your hand. It's crazy. They didn't put what Behold does on this one, but to Behold means that you have to like either have 2 cards. You would have to have 2 cards in your hand that has a creature type, or 1 card in your hand that has a creature type and 1 on the battlefield, or 2 already on the battlefield. Like, to Behold them, you have to like show them to your opponent that says like, hey, I have these 2 creatures in the same type. I think this card is just going to be like fine. Tutor effects and limited aren't that great. I mean, this one does have the upside of being able to put like something on the battlefield, and that's going to be great. The fact that like if you have like a lot of times your curve tops out at like 5 or something, so you pay 6 mana, you get like your 5/5 or your 5 mana creature that's just like a bomb and put it on the battlefield. Like that's going to feel really, really good when you're able to do that. There's so many cards that go well in this. Like there's a ton of changelings, there's a ton of just like elves, goblins, whatever it is that you're in, and you have green. I think green is going to be more like Kifkins and elves and things like that, elementals, but still like it's just there's just so much synergy going on with this. I think this card makes it better than a tutor usually is. I still don't think it's anything super crazy, but like if you're able to get this later on in a draft and you're already in the green color pair, you're going to be happy to have it. Next up, we have Champions of the Perfect. It is for 4 mana. It's an elf warrior. It is at rare. It says, as an additional cost to cast a spell, behold an elf or exile it. Whenever you cast a creature spell, draw a card. When this creature leaves the battlefield, return the exile card to its owner's hand. This card is incredible. A 4 mana 6/6 is a great rate. The fact that you can get down to 6/6 on as early as turn 4. You do have to exile an elf, but like elves are like tiny little creatures. By that point, by the time you get to 4 mana, they probably kind of outserve their purpose, the one that you choose to get rid of. You are going to need the elf synergy, but that's going to be really easy to pull off. There's so many elves in this. There's so many changelings. Like it's going to happen. You're going to have the cards in hand. You're going to be able to get this down pretty consistently on turn 4. And when you get down to 6/6, and then other creatures help you draw more cards, like this card's going to help you snowball games really fast. It's a great card. You're going to take it every time. Next up, we have Chomping Changeling. It is for 3 mana. It's a shapeshifter at Changeling. It says this creature enters, destroy up to 1 target artifact or enchantment. It's a 1/2 at uncommon. So we see this a lot. Just like there's been times in the past where, like back in the day, 3 green mana was just like a sorcery spell that would get rid of an artifact or enchantment. So the fact that this also gives you a body behind and that it's a Changeling, so it fits into so many decks, I think it's going to make the cut more times than it's not because of that. Also, just being like a very strong like removal spell that leaves you a creature. Like so, basically, you always go 1-up on this because you're removing something from your opponent while also adding to your own board. It's a very solid uncommon. You're going to be happy to have at least one of these in your deck. Next up, we have Crossroads Watcher. It is for 3 mana. It's a Kifkin Ranger at common. It has trample. It says whenever another creature you control enters, this creature gets +1/+0 until end of turn. It's a 3/3. So a 3 mana 3/3 is like baseline stats. Like that's perfect. This has trample. It's going to be in a Kifkin deck where it's going to be easy to like lay down another Kifkin and get it +1. And this does say whenever another creature you control enters. So like you can lay down multiple creatures. You can make it bigger than just like the +1 that it gets the first go around. So unlike the uncommon that we saw earlier, like it doesn't just cap off at like the 1+1/+0. Like you can have it the next turn if you have 4 mana and you have 2/2/2 creatures that you can lay down. It becomes like a 5/3 trample, which is awesome. I think this is like a solid common. You're gonna be very happy to have it in your Kifkin decks. Next up, we have Dawn's Light Archer. It's for 3 mana. It's an elf archer. It has flash and reach, and it's a 4/2, and it's common. These are solid. A 3 mana 4/2. We've seen a couple of these in this set, and that's just like great baseline. This has flash. There's a ton of like tinier flyers. There's like 1/3 flyers and things like that, 1/2 flyers and stuff. So there's a chance where you're able to ambush something, and then you still keep your creature alive because the 2 toughness makes it kind of a drawback. But like it's a solid attacker, it's a decent defender. Even if you have to trade off, like you can trade it off for something pretty big in the air. So it's a very solid common. You'll be happy to have it. Next up, we have Dedulin Weaver. It is for 2 mana. It's an uncommon Kifkin Druid. It says when this creature enters, if you control 3 or more creatures, return target permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. So this is kind of more of a situational card. Like a 2 mana 2/1 is like not the greatest stats in the world. And you're really like if you lay this down on turn 2, this is one of those 2 mana cards where like you don't want to lay it down. And in limited, it's just become such a game of like you have to be curving out on. Like if this was your 2-drop, you're gonna have to play it, and then you don't get anything additional, and it's gonna feel bad. There's a ton of stuff going on in the graveyards with green, particularly in green and black. But that also kind of makes this more of a negative card because it's a Kifkin. So it's like the green-black cards are more of the elf stuff. They have more of the synergies going on with the mill and the returning things from graveyards. Like if you're able to get this off, it's going to feel great. But all the stars have to align perfectly for that. And because of that, I don't think it's all that great of a card. Next up, we have Formidable Speaker. It is 3 mana. It's an elf druid at rare. It says when this creature enters, you may discard a card. If you do, search your library for a creature card, reveal it, and put it into your hand, then shuffle. And then you can pay 1 and tap this to untap another target permanent. So this is interesting. Like it's an elf card. It's going to go great in other elf decks. Like this was definitely more made for other formats where there's a lot of elf synergy. Not that there's not a ton going on in this set, but just like it was made for like the other elves that tap, and then this helps untap, and you can just keep tapping, and you can kind of go out of control with all your mana. I still think it's good. Again, like tutor effects unlimited are just not as great as they are in other formats. But the fact that you can do this and you can get out like your best creature if you're looking for something very specific to get rid of like something that your opponent has or something that helps create triggered abilities off of it. Like it's solid, like it's good stats. 3 mana 2/4 is a perfect stat line. And again, like I've talked about this in other videos, but when I talk about stat lines, basically you always want to have double what the mana is. So like if you're playing a 3 mana card, you're going to want to have at least 6 total power and toughness. So the fact that this is like 2 + 4 is 6 and it's 3 mana, like that's what I mean when I say like it's perfectly statted and things like that. So yeah, it's a very good card. You're gonna be happy to have it. Next up, we have Gilt Leaf's Embrace. It's for 3 mana. It's an aura. It has flash. It says enchant creature. It's at common. When this aura enters, enchanted creature gains trample and indestructible until end of turn. Enchanted creature gets +2/+0. So I talk about this in other videos. Having indestructible in this set, like it's going to come up, but it's not going to be as prominent just because there's so many things that put -1/-1 counters on it. There's ways to exile creatures, and indestructibility doesn't get around exiles or -1/-1 things. So in that sense, it's not going to be as good. Like, I still think it's going to be like a solid common, but unfortunately, I think there's just much better commons and much better uncommons and things that do similar stuff. So I feel like because of that, it's going to end up on the chop and block a lot. Next up, we have Great Forest Druid. It is for 2 mana. It's a Tree Folk Druid. It's a common. It says add 1 mana of any color. It's a 0/4. This is a solid 2-drop. It helps you ramp in green, which like you want to be doing. It's a common. It's got 0/4, so like it has a nice back to it. So when people swing into it, it can be a good blocker. It helps you ramp. And it's a tree folk, which matters. Like, tree folk isn't as common as some of like the other creature types and stuff, but it will matter. Just your vivid decks and stuff like that. Like, this was basically made for vivid. Just helps you with like the colors that you're going to need to be able to play like your 5-color craziness or 3-color or 4-color or whatever it is. So yeah, it's a solid card either way. Like, even if you're only in a 2-color deck, you're still going to be happy to have a card that helps you ramp into bigger things. It's a good defender. You'll take it. You'll be happy with it. Next up, we have Luminlusk. It is 4 mana. It's an elemental. It's got Death Touch. It's a 2/4 and uncommon, and it has Vivid. It says when this creature enters, you gain life equal to the number of colors among permanents you control. So, like, if this is just like, this is a 4 mana 2/4 with Death Touch, and it gains you 2 life. Like, that'd be okay. And that's what I think this card is. Like, it's just okay. Even if you get to like 3 colors, it just it helps you gain life, which is fine. But gaining life isn't the craziest thing in the world. It has Death Touch, but there's all sorts of flyers that get around that. There's all sorts of removal and stuff. Like, it's a little bit understated. So at 4 mana, a 2/4 at 4 mana is not that great. It makes up for it with the Death Touch thing. I think the problem is that usually by 4 mana, your opponent has 4 mana and 5 mana creatures as well, and they're kind of a little bit bigger. So a lot of times you're just going to end up trading this off and getting 2 life. And again, that just makes this card okay. Next up, we have Liza Lena Dignitaria. It's at 2 mana. It's an elf advisor at uncommon. It says, as an additional cost to cast this spell, behold an elf or pay 2. You can tap it to add to double green. Activate only if there is an elf card in your graveyard, and it is a 2/3. So a 2 mana 2/3 is very solid. A 4 mana 2/3 is not solid. But because there's so many elves in this, like, there's a very good chance you're gonna have an elf. So you're not going to have any trouble like beholding this or anything. And if you're able to lay this down on turn 2, that's going to feel great. Keep in mind that the elf deck is the mill deck. So like getting an elf into your graveyard isn't going to be too hard. I do kind of wonder, like, what are you going to do with the extra 2 green mana? Because again, like, elves are kind of tinier creatures. Like, they're not really known to be like these big giant, costly cards. So I do just wonder, like, what does it even matter to have that mana? And like, a lot of times it's just going to be a 2 mana 2/3 in the early game, and like, that's fine. Like, it's a great static card for 2 mana, but like, it's not going to break the game or anything. So again, I think this makes it just another one of those cards that's just okay. Next up, we have Liza Lena Informant. It is for 2 mana. It is an elf scout at common. It says when this creature enters or dies, surveil 1. So a 2 mana 3/1 is a great stat. The fact that when it enters or dies, it creates this trigger, so you're going to get the surveil trigger twice. And again, the elf deck likes to surveil and to have things in the graveyard anyways. I think this is going to be one of the better commons for an elf deck. You're going to be very happy to have this. It's just great. It's like a good attacker. It allows you to synergize really well with what you want to be doing in elves. Like, you're going to be really, really happy. I think this is going to end up being one of the best commons, especially for the elf deck. Next up, we have Midnight Tingling. It's 2 mana. It's an instant common. It says mill 4 cards. Then you may return a permanent card from among them to your hand. So these cards are interesting. Like, so if you do this in the late game, if you have 2 mana laying around, you're able to do it on your opponent's end step, and you get like some big creature that you need, then that's going to be great. The fact that it has to be from among the opponents or from among the cards that you milled, that kind of makes it less good, because like, it becomes very situational. Like, you can still whiff on that. You can definitely whiff on having like that, or you can mill 4 cards, but you only mill like a 2 mana card or a 3 mana card. And in those cases, it's going to feel bad. I do think that there's enough like going on in the green black mill stuff that like, you're going to be wanting cards in the graveyard anyways, and like, it's going to be fine in those kind of decks. But there's better ways to mill. There's better ways to get things back. There's more consistent ways to get things back. And because of that, I think it's going to end up on the chop and block a lot. Next, we have Miss Meadow Council. It's for 5 mana. It's a Kipkin advisor. At common, it says this spell costs 1 less to cast if you control a Kipkin. When this creature enters, draws a card. So 5 mana 4/3 that draws a card is already very good. The fact that you could do it for potentially 4 mana makes it even better. I think this is going to go great. It's going to go excellent in your Kipkin deck, but even if you're not necessarily in a Kipkin deck, just the fact that like, a 5 mana 4/3 that draws another card and helps you just it basically replaces itself automatically, which is awesome. That's exactly what you want to do. We've seen cards like this in the past. They always end up being very solid. I think this is another great common for green. Next, we have Moon Vigil Adherence. It's for 4 mana, including 2 in green. It is an elf druid and uncommon. It has trample. It says this creature gets +1/+1 for each creature you control and each creature card in your graveyard. So I think that because there's so many elves running around and the green black color pair, like they really care about stuff in the graveyard as well. Like there's a good chance that this is going to be like a 4 mana like 3/3 maybe on turn 4. Like that's very possible to do that because it is each creature you control and each one in your graveyard. So if you're just like curving out, worst case it's like a 4 mana 2/2, which is absolutely dreadful. Like you're not going to want to have that at all. But hopefully if you get it in the right deck and you're able to have enough going on, you'd be very happy with this card. I do worry really badly about the floor. Like again, a 4 mana 2/2 it's just awful. Like you're gonna feel miserable about having to play that card. And even worse if you're like trying to top deck for the win and you don't have very many other creatures and it's just coming down as like a 4 mana 4/4. Like, it's kind of makes it really situational. I think it has like a really, really high ceiling, but a terrible, terrible floor. And because of that, I can't really give it anything better than just like an average grade. Next up, we have Morkant's Eyes. It's for 2 mana. It is an enchantment elf. It's an uncommon. It says at the beginning of your upkeep, surveil 1. You can pay 4 generic and 2 green to sacrifice this enchantment and create X 2/2 black and green elf creature tokens, where X is the number of elf cards in your graveyard. So this is an interesting card. It is a 2 mana do nothing, basically. I mean, yes, and it is like a do nothing because by the time you lay it down, you've already passed your upkeep. So like you're not getting any ability off this until the very next turn. If you're able to do that early, I think that's great. If you top deck this card late, you're going to feel miserable. But the upside about this is that there is an opportunity where like if you lay this down as a top deck curve and then you have the mana laying around to the very next turn to sacrifice it and get all those 2/2s, I think that makes it a lot better. Yes, this is a do nothing card when it enters on turn 2, but there is a ton of upside in this card and there's a lot of upside in it in the late game because of that sacrifice ability that it has. So I think overall it gives it a better grade than I would have if it didn't have that extra ability added onto it. Next up, we have Mutable Explorer. It's 3 mana. It's a shapeshifter changeling. It's a 1/1. It says when this creature enters, create a tap Mutavault token. So a Mutavault is a land. It's a very powerful card in like Pioneer and stuff, but it's a land token where you can tap it to get 1 colorless, or you can pay 1 generic, and then it becomes a 2/2 creature until the end of turn. So basically, this is a 3 mana 1/1 that gives you a land. And the next turn, depending on like if you use all your mana to play this, and the next turn you have another one, then you could lay down another 3/3 and also turn this into a 2/2 and swing in with it. Because it's a Mutavault, one of the things about Mutavault is it's all creature types. It's a changeling, so that makes it really good. I think this is a great rated card. Giving you that extra like mana as well to help you ramp into bigger things is huge. Like in the late game, just creating like anyone who's played Pioneer knows like Mutavault's really powerful. It just helps you finish out games, like especially there's ways to whiteboards and stuff like that. And the fact that this can just keep swinging after that is going to feel great. It's a very solid rare card. You're going to take it every time. Next up, we have Pitiless Fist. It is for 4 mana. It's an aura. It says enchant creature you control. When this aura enters, enchanted creature fights up to 1 target creature an opponent controls, and the enchanted creature gets +2/+2. So a 4 mana fight spell is, not the greatest in the world. Like the fact that it's an enchantment and it sticks around, so it gets to keep that +2/+2 is better. But keep in mind, as we were mentioning earlier about the bite versus fight, your opponent could also have something that keeps their creature alive, and this kind of backfires on you. So you just got to be careful with that. It's going to be situational. Like if you have to play it, you're going to be okay with it. But like there's better removals and things like that. It's kind of just going to be a card that kind of helps fill out your deck. Next up, we have Prism Basher. It is for 6 mana, including 2 in green. It's an elemental and uncommon. It has trample and vivid. It says when this creature enters, up to X target creatures you control get +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of colors among permanents you control. So I think this is like a solid uncommon, like 6 mana 6/6 with trample. That's a good rate. Like that's a rate you're going to be happy to have. There's a good chance that because you're in green, like even if you only have 2 colors, this is going to give something +2/+2. Which is going to feel really good. And there's a good chance by the time you get to 6 mana in a green deck that you actually have 3 colors and things like that. I think it makes it better than it would be in like if this was like a red card or a blue card or something like that. So all in all, I think it's like a more than okay playable. Like you're going to be very happy to have this in your deck. Next up, we have Prismatic Undercurrents. It is for 4 mana. It's an enchantment. It also has Vivid. It's uncommon. It says when this enchantment enters, search your library for up to X basic land cards, where X is the number of colors among permanents you control. Reveal those cards, put them into your hand, and shuffle. You may play an additional land on each of your turns. I don't think this card's very good at all. The fact that it's like a 4 mana, like at most it's like a 4 mana, you lay it down, you only have one other color. You're able to get 2 lands out of it, and yeah, you can play like both those lands down or something, and that makes it fine. But like, it's just not exactly like the best ramp card. Like you're gonna be happy with it in the Vivid deck, and I do think that kind of makes it a niche card. Like you're not gonna want it at all unless you're in Vivid, and because like a lot of people aren't gonna be in Vivid, you're gonna be able to get this pretty late, and then that's gonna feel really good. But yeah, like if you're just playing this in like your typical green deck, it's not going to be that great. You're not going to like it. And there's much better 4 mana drops. Next up, we have Pummeler for Hire. It is 5 mana. It's a giant mercenary at uncommon. It's got Vigilance and Reach and Ward 2. It says when this creature enters, you gain X life, where X is the greatest power among giants you control. So a 5 mana 4/4 with Vigilance and Reach, like that's an okay statted card. Because like yes, it's underpowered. Like you would rather be a 5/5, but the fact that it's 4/4 and it has Vigilance and Reach is huge. And then like the worst case is this is a 5 mana card that gains you 4 life, because it's going to be the strongest powered giant that you control. If you have other giants that are even bigger than that, which I'm not sure how, I think there's only a couple of giants that have higher toughness than 4/4. And it's hard to get rid of because of the Ward 2. I think all that makes it a more than okay card. You're going to be very happy to have this in your green decks. Next up, we have Safe Right Cavalry. It is for 4 mana. It's an elf warrior at common. It says this creature can't be blocked by more than one creature. You can pay 5 and target elf you control gets +2/+2 until end of turn. So a 4 mana 4/4 that can only be blocked by one creature, like that's already okay. Like you're going to be okay with having that. And it's a common, so like it's going to be going around the table. It'll be a card that you can get later. And then like the very next turn, if you have another mana and you have nothing else to do, then you can make this into a 6/6, or you can make another creature that has good attacks into like a bigger creature. So I just think there's a lot of flexibility with this card. You're going to be okay to have these in like one of your higher mana value cards in your deck. It's a very solid common. Next up, we have Sapling Nursery. It is for 8 mana in total, including 2 in green. It's an enchantment at rare. It says it has affinity for forest. That means that this spell costs 1 generic less to cast for each forest you control. It has landfall. Whenever a land you control enters, create a 3/4 green tree folk. And you can pay 1 generic and a green and exile this enchantment. Tree folk and forest you control gain indestructible until end of turn. So, like, obviously at 8 mana, this is kind of like you just can't play it. You're going to want to play this on a turn where you have the extra mana, so you can lay this card down and then immediately lay down the land to get the 3/4, because that's going to feel huge. I do think there's kind of like, because you want to be in green, and green is just going in all sorts of directions. Like it's definitely the color that you want for Vivid, but it's also like a Kifkin deck. It's an elf deck. It's all sorts of stuff. So I don't know like how many forests you're gonna have to make this like a reasonable card to cast. If you get there, like, and you're able to do the 3/4 green tree folk, like that's gonna feel incredible, especially in like the late game. If you're top decking and you're kind of like flooding out, that's still great because you can lay down the land and it's still gonna give you a 3/4, and it's gonna feel awesome for that. But I just think it's kind of situational. Like you have to have a lot of stuff lined up. You have to make sure that you have enough forests in your deck to make it work. And then, like the secondary ability about like giving everything indestructible. Again, as I mentioned, like indestructible is just not as good as it is in other sets, because there's so many things that give you -1/-1 counters and ways that do exile effects. So it just makes it less good in that sense. I think it's a very situational card. Next up, we have Selfless Safe Right. It is for 5 mana, including 2 in green. It's an elf warrior. It has flash. It's at rare. It also has Convoke. That means that creatures can help you cast the spell. For each creature you tap while casting this spell, they can pay for 1 generic or 1 mana of that creature's color. When this creature enters, choose a creature type. Other permanents you control of that type gain hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. So a 5 mana flash that is a 4/2. We literally saw that earlier, and it's 3 mana, and it's a 4/2 that has flash and reach. And I think this card is less good than that, like by a long shot. So, yes, like you can give stuff indestructible and hexproof. Like you might be able to save 1 creature off of this. It does have Convoke as well. So there's like a world where like you don't have to pay any mana at all, and you have enough creatures up that you can just tap it on your opponent's end step. But I still think like, for 5 mana, you really want a little bit more going on, and the indestructibility and that matters a lot less in this. The hexproof part is going to come up more often. I don't think it's like you're not going to feel bad for having it or anything, but I just think that because it's so understated, it makes it a little bit hard to grade it anything more than just average. Next up, we have Shimmer Wild's Growth. It is 2 mana. It's an enchantment ore. It says Enchant Land. When this ore enters, choose a color. Enchanted Land is the chosen color. Whenever Enchanted Land is tapped for mana, its controller adds an additional 1 mana of the chosen color. So this is interesting because you do have you can like kind of get cute with this where like if your opponent is a black red deck and they only have 1 red mana and you know that you can like turn their red mana into like blue mana or something and just kind of hose them. And like that's going to be funny, but you are still helping your opponent ramp and things because they're able to add 2 blue mana. So as soon as they find that red mana that they need, well, now they have like an additional 2 mana to do for like generic mana and things like that. You definitely think you're going to be using this on your side of the board more often just to help you ramp into things. You're going to use it for like your vivid decks and stuff. It's a very interesting card. Like I do think it's more situational, but it's not like situational to the point where it's coming out of a sideboard. I still think there are plenty of decks where you'd be happy to have at least one copy of this in your main deck. Next up, we have Spry and Mighty. It is 5 mana. It's a sorcery. It says choose 2 creatures you control. You draw X cards, and the chosen creatures get +X and gain trample until end of turn, where X is the difference between the chosen creature's powers. So, like, if this is, I mean, this is a turn 5 card, it's at sorcery, but if you can target like a 1 power toughness and a 3 power toughness, that's still like you're drawing 2 cards. Both of them are getting +2/+2. Like, that's a solid rate. I think anything below that, and it's going to feel a lot worse, like a lot more miserable. I think anything above that, it's going to feel fantastic. Because it is situational, and there is going to be times where it just if you don't have the board state, it's going to be a dead card in your hand, and that really holds it back from being like super overpowered. But I think it's going to go off enough, and like you're going to feel awesome if you can get 2 cards out of this. So overall, it's an above rate card. Next up, we have Surely Fairy. It is for 2 mana. It's a Kifkin citizen at common. It says you can tap it and says target creature you control gets +1/+1 and gains vigilance until end of turn. You can activate only as a sorcery, and it is a 2/2. So a 2 mana 2/2 is just like solid. Its tap ability is going to come in clutch. Like if you have like a flyer or something, or if you just have like another creature that you can make bigger, like it's going to feel good. You are still going down this creature though, because you do have to tap, and you can only do it as a sorcery. So like if you swing in like whatever you gave vigilance to, it's still going to be able to stay back and block. But this card you can no longer use it to be a blocker. I just think that it's fine. Next up, we have Tend the Springs. It is for 3 mana. It's a sorcery. It says search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. Then if you control 7 or more lands and or tree folk, create a 3/4 green tree folk creature token with reach. This is situational. Like it does help you ramp. Like if this was just a 3 mana, like go get a land and lay it down tab, like that's fine. Like you would still play that, especially in your vivid decks. And it can get absolutely nutty if you do already have the mana needed. Like again, like going late into late games and flooding out is like the worst thing in the world. So like anything that helps you get lands out of your library, and if in this case you're able to get lands out and you get a 3/4 tree folk with it, like that's going to feel incredible. So like it has high upside. Like the ceiling the ceiling is great. The floor is not terrible. So overall, like this is a card that you're going to be happy to have in your green decks. Next up, we have Thought Left Charge. It is for 2 mana. It's an instant and uncommon. It says target creature gets +3/+3 until end of turn. If a creature entered this battlefield under your control this turn, draw a card. This is great for green. I think you would be happy to have at least 1 copy of this. I mean, it's just like a 2 mana. Like it's a cheap way to do more damage to your opponent, or you can even do it on defensively, but then you're not getting the draw the card ability unless you have like a flash creature or something that came in. But I still think this is like fine. Like you're going to be happy to have at least 1 of these in your deck. Next up, we have Tristan Callous Cultivators. For 3 mana, it's a legendary creature. It's an elf druid. At rare, it has Death Touch. It says whenever this creature enters or transforms, mill 3 cards. Then if there's an elf card in your graveyard, you gain 2 life. At the beginning of your first main phase, you can play it black mana if you do transform Tristan. The back half reads it has Death Touch. It's a 3/4. It says whenever this creature transforms into Tristan, you can mill 3 cards. Then you may exile an elf from your graveyard. If you do, each opponent loses 2 life. I think this card's good. Like it's above rates on stats. It's very you can use it on the backside when you need it. You can use it on the front side when you need it. Keep in mind, like in the elf deck, there's tons of ways to mill. There's tons of way to get stuff back from graveyards. It's going to help you like really just kind of run away with the game because you're able to drain life and you're able to gain life. And it's a very solid card. You're going to be happy to have it. The next card we have is Unforgiving Aim. It is for 3 mana. It's an instant. You can choose 1, destroy target creature with flying, destroy target enchantment, or create a 2/2 black and green elf creature token. I think this is a very solid common. It's very flexible. It's going to fit in nicely with a ton of decks. You're going to be able to play it. You're going to be happy to have at least 1 of these in your deck. Next, we have Vine Bred Brawler. It is for 3 mana. It's an Elf Berserker. At uncommon, it says this creature must be blocked if able. Whenever this creature attacks, another target elf you control gets +2/+1 until end of turn. So 3 mana 4/2 is above rate. It has a good ability. Like, it is a more aggressive card. Um, One of the things about elves is that a lot of them are smaller. So the fact that this makes maybe like one of your creatures who isn't that great of an attacker into a good attacker helps. And because they have to block it, like, yeah, it might go away, but it's probably trading off with something. And just being able to swing in with another creature that has a better statted because of this creature, that makes it overall a great common or a great uncommon. I think you're going to be very happy to have this in your deck. Next, we have Virulent Emissary. It is for 1 green mana. It's an elf assassin. At uncommon, it has Death Touch. It says whenever another creature you control enters, you gain 1 life. This is a great 1 drop. We see 1 drop Death Touchers all the time, and they're just solid. People don't want to attack into them, and the fact that this one also helps you gain life, and you're going to be in an elf deck where you have a lot of elves and a lot of stuff entering. I think it's a very, very solid uncommon. You're going to be happy to have this in your deck. And our last card is Wildvine Pummeler. It is for 7 mana in total. It is a giant berserker. It has Vivid. So this spell costs 1 less to cast for each color among permanents you control. It has Reach and Trample. So like a 7 mana 6/5 is not very good. But even if you have to pay, there's a good chance that you pay 5 mana for a 6/5 that has Reach and Trample, and that's going to feel great. If you're able to get it any lower than that, that's also going to feel good. It's a common. You're going to be able to pick these up later, and it's like a very nice statted body. So yeah, overall, I think this is another great common for green. You're going to be happy to have this in your deck. All right, and that is going to wrap us up for all the colors. I hope you enjoyed the content. If you do, be sure to like and subscribe. Thank you for taking time out of your day to view the channel. Let me know in the comments what you get during your pre-releases. I'd love to hear it. I hope you all go crazy. I would love to see someone do a Vivid deck. I just know, knowing my luck, I've talked so much smack about Vivid. I'm going to go to my pre-release, and of course, I'm going to have a Vivid deck. I just know it. I can feel it in my bones. So, but anyways, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate everything, and be on the lookout for our next video.